Everyone, so you just watched a video about Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy during World War II. We're all very familiar with the most famous dictator of World War II, Adolf Hitler, but you may not realize that there were actually 5 dictators during World War II. I've included an infographic in the email of all 5 of them. They come from Germany, obviously, with Adolf Hitler, Spain with Francisco Franco, Japan with Hideki Tojo, and Italy with Benito Mussolini, and Russia, or the Soviet Union, and Joseph Stalin. We know that Hitler wanted to take over most of Europe and get back at France for the Treaty of Versailles. He outlined it in Mein Kampf. We just learned what Benito Mussolini wanted to do to restore the Roman Empire and bring might and glory back to Italy. What did Joseph Stalin want? Wyatt D is actually going to share with us what he learned about Joseph Stalin and some things that he was known for. Spoiler, they weren't very good things.
Today I'll be telling you about the Great Purge. It was an ideology led by Joseph Stalin where he would go to and try to rise to power. And to do that, he had to eliminate any threat against him. And one of the first events that happened was the assassination of Sergei Kirov. He was assassinated not directly by Joseph Stalin, but by the order of Joseph Stalin. Sergei was a part of a party called the Bolshevik Party, and so Joseph Stalin tracked people down from that party and killed all the dissents from that party, so there would be nobody opposing him. Joseph Stalin had to get rid of several former high-ranking generals or admirals. To do that, he staged court trials called the Moscow trials. He would condemn them of treason, and since it was staged, they didn't do it, and since they didn't do it, they wouldn't admit to it. So they were tortured until they admitted to the forced confession, and since they did do that, they were executed. Since they admitted to do committing treason. Gulag camps were made during this time where people who didn't die were sent to work. People there either got sick, fatigued, or starved to death. So a lot of people died. 1.5 million estimated people either went missing or died during that time.
Thank you, Wyatt. That was great. So that was 1937. By 1938, Hitler decided he wanted control of Austria. You may not know that Hitler actually was Austrian. He was born in Austria, and he wanted it to be a part of his new German empire. So he took over control without actually having to fire a single shot. This became known as Anschluss when Germany annexed Austria. So to annex something means to take something that's separate and make it a part of another group or something like that. So he annexed Austria. It became part of the German Empire. I've linked a personal account by a Holocaust survivor who was actually there. She was 10 years old. So she's going to tell you a little bit about what it was like to be there when this happened. The rest of the world saw what Germany wanted them to see, and that was cheering crowds and parades of Nazis marching down the street, to crowds throwing flowers at them and cheering them on. So to everyone, it looked like Austria was extremely happy about this. And for the most part, they were. But there were people who were not excited about this, and that was mainly the Jews because they could see what was coming for them. So you may be wondering what the rest of the world leaders were thinking at this point. Surely now they see what Hitler wants, that he's wanting to take over all of Europe. Well, you would be wrong. They still didn't think that. Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister of England at the time, of Great Britain. He actually went to Munich in Germany and met with Hitler. So you probably are thinking, okay, so he's met him. Surely now he realizes he's crazy. No, he came back from Munich even more convinced that Hitler was a great guy and that he didn't want to take over the world. He just wanted Austria and he wanted Germany, and he would be happy with that. Obviously, he was wrong. He had Hitler sign the Munich Agreement, and he made Hitler promise a lot of things, that he wasn't going to cause a war, that he wasn't going to take over any other countries, and Hitler signed it because he was a great guy, right? Obviously not. Obviously, he went back on his word, but Neville Chamberlain came back to Great Britain as a hero. He got off the plane waving the Munich Agreement, and he said, "This is peace for our time." He was so proud, and everybody believed him. Everybody except Winston Churchill. He still thought that Hitler wanted to take over the world, but nobody else believed him, and everybody thought he was crazy. On September 30th, 1938, Neville Chamberlain and Hitler signed the Munich Agreement. Chamberlain comes back a hero. Hitler goes about his business, and 2 weeks later, he occupied the Sudetenland. That is where Czechoslovakia is today. He put troops in that area and forcibly took control of the Sudetenland because obviously he wanted to take over Europe, and any country that spoke German, he wanted them all united against the rest of the world. And as you can guess, the Sudetenland, they spoke German. So that was part of his plan all along. And at that point, Neville Chamberlain was proven wrong. That was not peace for our time. All you had to do for history today was watch the videos. But if you would like an extra challenge, you can research any 2 of the 5 dictators and compare and contrast them against each other. How did they rise to power? What was their background? And how did they rise to power? What was their background? What did they stand for? Anything like that. You can make your own infographic. Canva.com is a great website that lets you make infographics for free. You can do a mind map, you can write an essay about it, you can make a video, whatever you'd like to do. And remember, that's just your extra challenge for history today.